I hope this fan is not too distracting. I was just so hot today and like I just had to put it right in front of me because mama is warm. But anyways, hey everyone, my name is Sophia Starla, and if you're a new friend, welcome to my channel, and if you're an old friend, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. So today we're going to be talking about eyeshadow and my tricks to blending my eyeshadow and just everything that I've learned about eyeshadow along the way. So if you're ready to hear what I have to say about all that, then stay tuned because it's coming up next. So the rules that I'm talking about today are for like kind of complex eyeshadow looks. This is going to be like for 3 colors or more. If you guys are interested in seeing what I have to say about eyeshadow looks that are just for 1 eyeshadow color or 2 eyeshadow colors, I have videos about those and I'll link them down below. These tips are going to be about 3 or more shadows because I feel like, you know, people need to know about that kind of stuff. So anyways, everybody knows that you need to start with like a really good primer because your eyeshadow is just not going to stay on your eyelid if you don't use a primer. But setting your eyeshadow with a translucent loose setting powder or a neutral or nude eyeshadow is also very important. This is something that I used to not do. I didn't take it seriously. Even on my channel on earlier videos, like I didn't always set my eyeshadow, but I found that setting your eyeshadow makes it so much easier for your eyeshadow to blend. So definitely use a good primer and set your primer down with some sort of powder. Some people use concealer when they are trying to prime their eyelids. I feel like for beginners that's probably kind of risky because you have to blend out the concealer a whole lot and you have to set it, and then you don't really know exactly how far up between your, especially if you have like a lot of space between your eye and your eyebrow, you aren't exactly sure like how much to do, and so it can just get kind of crazy. So just use a regular eyeshadow primer when you're first starting out, and then maybe graduate to concealer. I would start off with a drugstore brand of eyeshadow primer, Milani's eyeshadow primer. It's amazing. I love it. It works really, really well, just as good as any high-end brand. If you're looking for a high-end brand, you could go with Too Faced Glitter Glue eyeshadow primer or the Lorac eyeshadow primer. Those are some of my personal favorites. Urban Decay has a really good eyeshadow primer. I think it's their Primer Potion. Yeah, so just some high-end or mid-range eyeshadow primers are a good start as well, because then you're going to be using really high-quality products, and that's going to help your eyeshadow stick even more. Next, I think the real secret to having really good eyeshadow are going to be the tools that you use, because tools really are going to just make or break your look. If you don't have good brushes, then you're just not going to apply the eyeshadow correctly. So I would recommend having, and like this is just basic starting off, like have a really good blending brush and have a really good eyeshadow, just a flat basic eyeshadow brush. I recommend getting these 2 from Wet n Wild because they're seriously only 99 cents and they work really, really beautifully. You're going to want to have a blending brush that's like tapered out like that because it really helps to diffuse the color across your eyelid. And when you are setting down that first color, you really want it to just be like a wash of color. You don't want it to look too concentrated, and having all of these bristles that are like splayed out helps the color not be too concentrated on your eyelid and helps you blend it out really beautifully. So when you're starting off with this slightly more complex look, you're going to want 3 eyeshadow colors. You're going to need a transition shade, a base color for your lid, and then a crease color to help add depth and dimension. The eyeshadow that I'm using in this little look is from the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette by Too Faced. I think this palette has a really good mix of lid colors, crease colors, and of course a transition shade that's really African American girl friendly. Well, at least girls my shade. I know that this is like black girls come in seriously every color, so peanut butter might not work for you depending on your color, but I feel like in W45 and down, it's gonna work for you. But yeah, so after tools, you're going to want to find a really good eyeshadow palette. You can either go with mattes or shimmers or a mix of both. I personally started off with mattes just because I felt like that was like the easiest to learn with. But I know that some people would argue that shimmer colors are easier to blend, and like if you don't blend them that great, then it's hard to tell because, you know, they're shimmery and so they just kind of already look like they're blended or whatever. Once you've found which colors are more flattering for your skin tone, pick 3 that can serve as your lid color, your transition color, and your crease color. If you have an eyeshadow palette and you are kind of freaking out about what colors you think might go together, just kind of like take some of the colors and just swatch them on your arm and see which 3, a lid, a crease, and a transition color might work. Well, okay. See which 2 colors would go nicely together. You're always gonna have the same transition color. You just want those colors on your lid and your crease to really blend into that transition shade. But the transition shade is really going to be like your staple. So you're probably not gonna be using too many different transition shades. Find one that works with you and hold on to it like a life vest, lifeboat, life raft, whatever. Another secret that I would say is to continue to play in your makeup and just don't be afraid to experiment. Like, I have a lot of anxiety when it comes to messing up. Like, I really just hate messing up. And so that'll like keep me from actually trying sometimes. But the more that you practice, the better that you get. And so like when you get home from work and you're finished working out or whatever it is that you do after work, before you go to bed, just kind of play in your eyeshadow and see what colors work well on your eye shape, what work well with your skin tone, because like really that's the only way that you're going to get comfortable with eyeshadow, is just by practicing. So I feel like I can give you as many tips as I have, but really the most important tip is practice, practice, practice. Nobody gets good at eyeshadow overnight. Like, everybody makes mistakes and figures out what works for them and their specific eye shape. Like, I can tell you, you know, how I do my eyeshadow, but if you don't have all this space on your eyelid, then it's not going to make as much sense for you. So you just have to get comfortable with your eye shape and your set of tools. Another tip that I have is to do your eyeshadow before you do your foundation. If you have a really powdery eyeshadow palette that you're using, that fallout could mess up your foundation, and it's just going to be super frustrating trying to clean it up without completely taking off your foundation. And if you've done a fair amount of contouring or highlighting, it would just be so frustrating to have like a wiped off patch under your eye because your eyeshadow gave you a bunch of fallout. So do your eyeshadow first, then do your face. Use really clean brushes when you are doing your eyeshadow, and if you can't like clean your brushes off, then just wipe them off really good between each application of a different eyeshadow shade, because it's really, really annoying when you are putting down colors and a completely different color gets on your eyelid and then it completely messes up your look. Like, it just kind of spoils it. So use clean brushes or wipe them suckers off really good between each application. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't done so already so you can stay up to date on all my latest videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.